Hello, and welcome to What's Up Oxford. My name is Kelly Gilson, and I'm the Executive Director with United Way Oxford. And it's my pleasure to have a United Way Oxford What's Up Oxford show, and it's our day. So please stay with us and learn everything you ever wanted to know about United Way Oxford and the work that we're doing here across our community. We're so thankful for Rogers for this opportunity, and we welcome you to watch. My first guest is Giselle Lutfella, and Giselle is a board member, a long-standing board member with United Way. So welcome, Giselle.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
We are so grateful for our board because as a charity, it is critical to have a strong board who guides our work. And can you tell us what made you apply for the board and come on?
Well, I would have to say that I first became very interested in the work of United Way because they made some investments in the service that I work for. And it was through a community fund that we were able to actually realize a program that would never have been funded by anyone else. And through that experience, we were able to actually make a business case to the ministry to pay for the service on an ongoing basis. And so through that investment, we were able to really realize something very different for our community, an opportunity for our community. And the more I learned about United Way in terms of how it was 100% local and that we were able to really focus on all parts of the county, which is very important, I became more and more interested in the organization as a whole and wanted to be a part of that bigger work that United Way was doing.
Well, that's wonderful because the opportunity to leverage and maximize investments and funding grants or other sources of income to build up our community is part of what we do. So that's really wonderful. And can you tell us a little bit about what your experience as a board member has been like?
Well, I would have to say when I first joined the board, I was a bit intimidated because the board was so cohesive. But what I really learned and experienced was how important the relationships were around the board table. Everyone there represents a part of Oxford County. And we have a skills matrix, so different professions or different communities are represented. And when I think about, the relationships we've been able to develop, because we are a pretty strong and, if I may say, talented board.
You may say.
We have 15 dedicated people. And so we are a board of governance. We make sure that we have financial oversight of the organization. Our policies are very strong. And we really focus on making sure that we're able to support you as the executive director, but that we're very tuned in to what services are, or actually what programs are being funded, how we can meet our strategic directions, how we can develop strategic directions that are meaningful for Oxford County by facing outward and hearing what's happening through our executive director as well as our community partners.
That is so important because the work of the boards truly guide an organization. They are the strategic lens, but also that accountability piece, which is so critical to ensure accountability to donors and community partners and stakeholders. But when we sit around the table and we're looking at where we go in the future and what the opportunities are, the board leads that discussion. And I'd like to ask about the experience over the last few years when our board decided to go into transitional housing supports in a very different way from a United Way norm.
Absolutely. And so when I think about my experience on different boards that I've been able to sit on and have had the privilege of supporting, I think the most meaningful work that I've been a part of has been the decision of United Way Oxford to really invest in the homelessness issue that we have within our community and to be that conduit of hope in really investing in individuals and making sure that there are opportunities, a hand up, that really focuses on working with partners in making sure that there are opportunities for people to transition from homelessness into other areas of life, and for people to invest in them.
So when we, for folks at home, United Way Oxford purchased a home in Tillsonburg in 2023 and opened it up for transitional housing, along with our partner, the Oxford County Community Health Center, who are providing the supports, the wraparound support. So the four walls and the roof and the safety of housing is important, but so are the supports.
Absolutely.
And we're thrilled to announce that we will have an Ingersoll transition house opening very soon. But that was a real leap for us. And we didn't do it in isolation. You know, as you were saying, we work with partners. And so can you tell us a little bit about why that relationship matters so much to meet needs?
Well, I think that, you know, as a county, one of the things that I appreciate in being part of different social service groups is that we are a small community, we're a small county, but we have big city problems. And when I look at the importance of relationships and the necessity of really collaborating with one another and coordinating services, that can only happen through meaningful relationships and a real will to invest in others and to create hope. And so when I think about, you know, United Way is absolutely an organization that invests in communities. This was a different type of investment. And as a board member, I was so proud to be a part of those decisions and to be a part of that meaningful work, because this is true impact. This changes people's lives.
It certainly does. And I remember, if not us, then who?
Exactly.
And that's what drove us to do the work that mattered. Giselle, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for your work as a professional in the community, but certainly your work as a volunteer board member for United Way Oxford. Do you have one thing you would like people to know about United Way as sort of your parting line that they may not know?
So one thing that I don't know if people know about, as we were making our way out of the pandemic, the federal government trusted United Ways to be the conduit of additional investments in community. That speaks volumes. United Way is a trusted community partner and is an organization that really makes huge impact in communities. And I'm not sure if people know that.
And you know, we were so honored to be selected as that partner, and we were selected because we know our communities well. We have strong relationships, and we could mobilize quickly to make those investments matter.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you very much for joining us today, Giselle.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Welcome back to What's Up Oxford, and it's the special United Way Oxford edition. Welcome, ladies. I'm so thrilled to have you both here. Cheryl McCackey, who is a longtime volunteer with United Way, and Lindsay Wilson, who is a staff person, a staff member, community impact manager. But together, you represent our community impact, our investment in community, because it takes both staff and volunteers. So welcome, and I want to know if one of you would like to jump in and talk about why our investments in the community matter and why the role of volunteers matter when we do that. Cheryl, I'll start with you.
I think you would. Volunteers are so important to that process because our volunteers in particular bring a wide range of experience, expertise in certain fields, social fields, just a knowledge of their community. And so when they come to the table together, they really do give us a kind of a big picture of what's going on in the community. And when they make some of those funding decisions, they understand what some of the needs in the community are. So our volunteers really do play a key role in our whole process. And they take it quite seriously.
They do.
They really do. And we always talk about, you know, if you can stand on the table and say, here's what we invested in and here's why, and say it proudly, then we know we've done a good job.
Absolutely. And when we talk about volunteers, people may not realize at any given year, we may have 25 or 30 volunteers.
Easily.
And Lindsay, maybe you could just explain a little bit about the process, because it's not one or two meetings, is it?
It certainly isn't. I think this year we're at 12 meetings between about October and the spring. Especially we're in the thick of it right now, kind of going through that process. And the process is important because it represents the commitment we've made to our donors. We've made a commitment that we will make good decisions and wise investments. So the robust process is how we can be confident and stand on the table, as Cheryl says, and know that we've made good decisions about the programs and services that will receive funding through United Way. Oxford.
Absolutely. And I mean, organizations, agencies, they apply, there's an initial statement of interest, then there's a full application, then there's interviews. It really does it's a labor of love.
It is. I think it's a labor of love and a commitment from our volunteers, because the process will be longer this year because we have more applicants to hear from, which is wonderful, but also a challenge because difficult decisions will have to be made at the end of the process. But I think last year we were over 300 hours collectively only in reviewing the applications. So that kind of gives you an idea of the time and commitment that our volunteers give.
And many of our volunteers are longtime volunteers. So as robust as the role is, they love doing it. And they love that time when we do come together and have these discussions. And a lot of them walk away and say, I didn't know that about this agency or this organization's work. Yes. So they learn.
This is, at the end of the day, this is why we exist, right? We do what we do, we fundraise, we partner, we connect so that we can make investments and support our community to give people the services they need. And Lindsay, could you maybe, for the community watching, tell them what our 3 pillars, our investment areas are, because we're quite methodical also.
Absolutely. So part of our commitment, again, is being intentional about where we're investing in the pillars that we know will represent the community needs. So we have from poverty to possibility. So that's supporting people with their basic needs so they can focus on other things that help them excel and build a better life. We have strong, healthy communities. So that's, all the things you can imagine that keep people happy and healthy. For us right now, that's a focus on mental health, but that can change as our community changes. And the third, which lately represents kind of the bulk of our investment, is all that kids can be. Sorry, I'm stuttering there. All that kids can be, because we know when we invest in kids when they're young and give them the supports they need to thrive, it kind of eliminates the need for some of those negative experiences later, or reliance on mental health or whatever that may be. And so we invest a lot of our support into those programs.
That's really critical, because not only are we funding programs and services that deal with the here and now, we are working proactively to address root causes and prevent issues down the road. And that is also a balance we strive. Right. And it's challenging. Because one of the things we also know is needs in the community continue to grow. Yep. And as Lindsay, you just mentioned, we had a significant increase in applications this year. It speaks to the challenges organizations have to meet the needs, the growing needs in the community. And so, Cheryl, could you maybe tell us a little bit about how we know what the needs are? Because I think that's important to our work as well. We do.
And there was a time when we were sort of what we would call the old United Way, where we would trust our agencies to tell us what community needs were. And there was a point where the board said, we would like to know that the money is going to real needs in the community. And so we did start that whole process of how do we find that out. And so we have done probably the last 12, 13 years, what we call community conversations, where we, a little team of volunteers and staff, go out, talk to as many demographics in our community as we possibly can, and ask them basic questions about, what are your aspirations for your community? What would that look like? What gets in the way? And we pull all that data together, and using that, determine what then do we need to fund. And what we have learned is we've done probably 2 or 3 different rounds of conversations, are currently working on a new round of conversations, and we found that it does change. So some things, other agencies step up, they look after it. We don't really need to look at that anymore, but then new things arise. And housing was one that came on our radar probably 7, 8, 9 years ago that people were struggling with housing, and it's certainly hasn't left the radar.
Escalated since then.
Exactly. So we can then with confidence build our strategies and say, this is what the community has told us. This is what the experts have added to that because they have expert knowledge. So this is what, if we fund these things with our agencies, we can make a difference in the community and have true impact.
So we really are making meaningful, deliberate. Investments to create the change. And we're measuring those as well. And I know that we are getting ready to wrap up, but I think that that measurement piece, that accountability, we talk about the importance of that really matters too. And so, Lindsay, I'll just maybe ask you, how do we go about measuring very quickly and why that matters?
Absolutely. I think from an accountability perspective, kind of the easiest way to explain it is that the organizations are required to submit reporting mechanisms. And so they do a midterm report and a final report, which gives us the opportunity to check in and make sure things are progressing how we hope they will progress. And so they kind of choose some what we call strategies and indicators, which is our way of saying, tell us how you know your program's working and how well it's working, and if it's having a significant change in the people that you're supporting. So if I can use Strong Start as an example, because they do quite well at this, is what we wanted to know is, of course, can we improve the literacy of the children that are going through the program that we're funding? And they quite confidently can do so, which is what we want to be able to tell people that, what we said we could do with your money, we have done it through the investments in these programs.
Which really matters to our donors who trust us to make wise investments, but to the community as well. And this information is really great to share with other community partners because it lifts everyone up as well. Ladies, thank you so very much. Cheryl, to you and all of the volunteers who put so much heart and soul into this process. Please know how grateful we are. We know that our investments change lives, and it is why we do what we do at United Way Oxford. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Kelly.
And please stay with us. We will be right back. Welcome back to What's Up Oxford, the special United Way Oxford edition. And joining me is Megan Porter, who is a Resource Development Coordinator at United Way Oxford. Welcome.
Thank you.
So resource development is like a fancy schmancy way of saying campaign. You work with workplaces, employee giving, lots of community partners to raise the funds that we use to invest in areas across our community. So you work with a lot of workplaces. Historically, corporate partners and employee giving has been a cornerstone of United Way. So can you tell us a little bit about how we engage with workplaces? Because it's not just about fundraising, is it?
Not at all. I think there's so much more to that relationship and that partnership. And yes, we support our workplaces and companies and local labor groups, not only in their philanthropic efforts, but also in supporting their community action and social responsibility goals. And there are so many ways that we're able to do that, whether it's through bringing in awareness programs, sharing local issues, sharing programs and services that are available in our community to support people in their workplaces or people that they have the opportunity to support, to come into their workplace and provide presentations, whether they're offering a lunch and learn series about what's going on in our community, to engage their team with impact speakers, with, as we mentioned, an employee giving program, but also with things like a Seeing is Believing tour. We work with a lot of workplaces on product drives, but that Seeing is Believing tour is an option for gathering your team together and taking them out on the road to see the programs and services that are in action in our community.
Because, our experience is people really do want to make a difference. They want to contribute to the well-being of the community. And this is one way in which a workplace can really have a variety of options, but to fulfill that goal.
Absolutely. And to share the impact that they can have to make a difference.
And when we think about the companies that you work with, Megan, on our behalf, they're large and small, right? So it doesn't matter. There are so many ways that a company can get involved with us. And so can you tell us some examples of, how you have relationships and what that might be from a corporate level?
So I think that there are many companies and groups in our community who have different abilities or different time constraints or time available to be able to work with us.
Totally fair.
They have different goals. And so there is, I want to say evolving, but really it's a growing list of things because we are very adaptable to what works best for the people we work with. But, there are things like sponsorship. Whether it's sponsorship of an event we're having in the community, whether it's a document or a report that we produce, one of our goals is always to offset as much cost as possible.
Always.
So that the money that we're raising is going directly to the programs that we support. So we have sponsored employee programs, companies that provide an employee for several months of the year. We also have different events throughout the year that your workplace can participate in. So perhaps it's our You Dodge Dodgeball tournament if you're looking for something really fun that also raises funds. If perhaps you're wanting to participate in Local Love Week or our Day of Caring, where we go out into the community and do jobs for local programs and organizations that is something on their to-do list, but when they're focused on helping the folks who are participating in their programs, things like painting or gardening or helping them to maintain, you can gather people from your workplace, go out and do those jobs together, or perhaps sponsor one of those projects. So the plants or the tools that they need to use or the paint are looked after.
So many options. And I often say that we have a small but mighty team, but we are really, really focused on that relationship and doing what needs to, like whatever we can do. And I think that what you've explained really speaks volumes of your willingness, our willingness to meet companies, labor groups, employee groups where they're at and give them options.
Absolutely. I think that's really, that's so true of what we do. And also we like to have the opportunity to bolster a community's sort of sense of purpose within their organization. And so bringing resources to their teams as well. It's sharing information about 211 and the services they provide. Perhaps they don't know that 211 exists. Perhaps they don't know that there could be people working within their organization who need to access those services or share them with someone in their lives.
So little segue, 211 is a free 24-hour, 7-day-a-week information and referral service. It is as simple as dialing 211, and you can get connected to the supports and services you need. And so we really think of ourselves as a partner with workplaces and with companies. And can you tell us a little bit about maybe the benefits that the company itself receives from, again, partnering with us and going down that journey of building a better community?
Absolutely. As we're helping to bring those sense of purpose, purpose, as we're seeing more workplaces that are bringing in a social responsibility team to make sure that they are giving back to their community. I think one of the things that's great as we bring in options for those people to engage with their teams, to create leadership opportunities for the people who are working on their teams, whether it's participating on a committee or leading the United Way campaign, learning more and feeling empowered about what's really happening and what the local issues are in our community. But what we know is that employees who participate in a corporate purpose campaign, whether it's through volunteerism, whether it's through giving, whether it's through taking positive actions, they're 52% less likely to leave the company.
That's significant.
It is. And, when you are opening people's eyes or showing them something that they haven't seen before, that they perhaps realized was happening on the periphery, but they have the ability to learn more about it, I think the connection to community that we are sharing and supporting in our community is so important, and that in itself helps to bring that purpose to that organization or company as well.
And because we are 100% local, our work is here in Oxford County. It is where people live, work, and play. Our services impact people's families, their neighbors, their friends, their coworkers. And so for anyone who is sitting at home and thinking, I'd love to have my workplace involved, how do they connect with you and get started down this process?
I think there's many ways. I think you can reach out to whether it's the person you report directly to, whether it's the Human Resources Department, maybe it's your union rep, someone who you can speak to about what your allowances are for bringing that into the workplace. But I think we're seeing so many different things in workplaces, whether it's having a product drive, whether it's running a raffle where the funds will support United Way Oxford, maybe it's running a mini golf tournament in the office that brings a lot of fun to the office. People are doing things like for workplace events that might be, you know, a meeting. They're bringing us in to bring a little bit of interesting community news to share with their team, but also they're hosting a barbecue and we're speaking for 2 minutes while we're there, or you know, we could probably talk a lot longer than 2 minutes, to be honest.
2, 10,
but
whatever.
We can definitely limit it to 2 or 4 minutes if that's what your constraints are.
So for anyone at home who's watching and is interested in getting involved in a new relationship, Megan is here to work with you in any way, shape, or form, because we are a partner.
Absolutely.
And we want to make it a win-win for ourselves, for our workplace partner, our corporate partner,
community.
and our community most of all. Megan, thank you so very much. What you do really matters, because without employee giving and workplace and corporate support, we would not have the resources to invest in our community to build up strengths. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Please stay with us. What's Up Oxford will return in a moment. Hi, welcome back to What's Up Oxford, the United Way Oxford edition. My name is Kelly Gilson, and I'm hosting today. I'm also the Executive Director of United Way Oxford. And joining me on the couch is Amanda Krager, our Resource Development Manager. Welcome.
Welcome. Thanks for having us here today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much. You know, one of the things that I love about when we talk about resource development, it's not just fundraising for us, is it? It is so much more. It's about community engagement. It's about building awareness and information. And so can you tell us why engaging the community is so important to the work we do?
Yeah, that bringing people together piece is at the core of United Way's work here in Oxford County, whether that's working with the organizations that we fund as a partner to help connect them to resources and community, whether that's looking at the community needs and talking to people here in our community and understanding where our funding needs to go to fill those gaps and meet those needs, whether it's giving people the opportunity to volunteer and get involved and connect to community. Connection is a word that we use a lot in our world to help people feel like they're a part of something bigger than what they are. And that's a big role for us here at United Way. We know that over the past decade even, Canadians are feeling less connected to each other and to community. The numbers with how many people have, less close friends and don't know their neighbors. And it's really impacting really everything.
Negatively,
yeah. So United Way, I really see one of our roles as being that connector to bring in both individuals and organizations and workplaces together to learn more and be a part of something bigger.
And it speaks to, it truly does take a village. And I also joke that we're almost like a matchmaker, because we are really good at making those connections and putting people together or groups together where they can really build up and leverage what they had in mind. And that's a huge piece of your role.
Yeah, it is. As a fundraiser, we always want people to understand why it's important to donate. I know that everybody has their barriers to give and budgets, and we're all feeling the stress. But when you really understand why it's important, it makes it easier to be a part of it. So things like volunteering, we bring people out to do product drives, right? Whether that's a group, an organization, or whether it's within your workplace. We've provided organizations with menstrual hygiene projects for a whole year, right? We do supplies for students programs, some of those on the ground things where you can make a donation or volunteer some time and help kids get the supplies they need to go back to school. Our transitional housing program, another program that is really on the ground making a difference every single day because we saw a need and we were able to find partners in the community to make that happen. So out in front of all of that fundraising piece, this is why we're doing what we're doing to fundraise.
Yeah. And it really is connected because it shows people the impact. So whether it's our Tampon Tuesday or supplies for students, that is how we mobilize community.
Yeah.
Because people care, they want to make a difference, and they love to be able to have that direct impact.
everybody can do something, right? And when all of us do something little and we come together with it, that's kind of what happens.
That's how we build a community. Absolutely. Amanda, a few years ago, we launched a Women United group. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Yeah, so it was in 2019, we started Women United. Other United Ways, neighbor United Way were doing it, so we hopped on and started our own here just in Oxford County. So it basically brings together like-minded women who want to make a difference. It's a leadership giving gift, so it's a $1,200 or $100 a month annual gift. But what it does is it really focuses those investments into programs that make a difference to women and children and their families every day. So we've done things like support the Oxford Sexual Assault Counseling Program. We bring our women together. We learn more about what's happening and where their donations are going. We did a student snack program last summer. We talked about how the nutrition program in the schools isn't available over the summer. What can we do to help fill that gap? And together as Women United, we packed 500 snack bags to go to the libraries to help kids over the summer.
And we're so fortunate that because of our community knowledge, because of our relationships, we know where some of those gaps are, and we know where there's opportunity to build awareness and understanding. And so we really talk about knowing local issues and engaging in community. And so some of that is also about building awareness and understanding, empathy, and opportunity. And so can you share a few other ways in which we can bring people together so that they're better informed about what's happening across our community?
Yeah, absolutely. So we talk about volunteering in the way that you can give your time. We talk about donating in the way that you can give your finances. There's also that acting piece. There's also that learning more and having that empathy. So things like our Community United Conversation series that we host a few times a year covers a wide variety of local issues, whether that's intimate partner violence, housing stability, food insecurity. Learn more about what's happening here and learn more about what you can do to help if somebody, needs services. We have our Saying is Believing tours. So we take groups of individuals once a month out into the community and we see firsthand. We meet the incredible partners on the ground doing the work every single day. Sometimes you get a chance to meet individuals that are utilizing those services. 1 in 5 people are impacted by United Way every day. So when you do something to help support United Way or our community, it's people you know. Right?
Absolutely. It is people you know. It's people that are related to you. It's people who live next door to you or work next to you. It is 100% local, and I think that matters so much for folks. And so at the end, if people are looking to get involved or they want to learn more, they want to come out to an event or participate in something, can you tell us how they would find out information? Stay in the loop, if you will.
Yeah, so you can visit us on social media. You can sign up for our newsletter through our website. It goes out once a month. It has volunteering opportunities, events to just learn a little more. Something like joining us at our kickoff or a celebration event. It's going to help you make those connections with other community partners, with other volunteers. And you can always email us. We love coffee chats.
We sure do. The coffee pot is always on. And we love that opportunity to share some of the things that we're doing, but also to ask questions about what matters. Because that informs us. So if anyone is looking to get involved, they want to maybe attend a fun event or learn more about a service in the community, you're their go-to person.
Yeah, you can visit our website. That'll all be posted on there, or you can email me, amanda@unitedoxford.ca. And whatever level of commitment or engagement you're interested in starting at, we can meet you there.
Because what we do is really about servicing customers and really adapting to the needs of the people we're working with, whether it's an individual or a workplace partner. We are nimble, and we are all about building strong relationships for the community. Amanda, thank you and your team for the work you do. We are small but mighty, but our efforts truly change lives across Oxford County, and we appreciate all
doing
you
it together.
And your volunteers do to make this happen. And our workplace, there's so many volunteers that actually are behind the scenes doing heavy lifting for us. So thank you so very much. And thank you for joining us today on What's Up Oxford, the United Way Oxford Special Edition. We really appreciate your time to learn more, to engage with us. And we hope that you are inspired to get involved at whatever level and opportunity currently fits your needs, and know that we are here to support opportunities, to look at new investments, and to leverage things that are happening to meet not just the current needs in our community, but the emerging needs as well, and proactively try and make a difference down the road so that Oxford is a healthier place for all, and a community that has hope and opportunity and the services we need. So thank you for everyone who supports United Way, for your involvement and your dedication. We could not do what we do without you, and we are so grateful, and thank you for tuning in.